Well, all right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Hot Seat Automotive Podcast. It's your buddy CJ here. And tonight, we're talking about all things automotive industry, all the things real automotive enthusiasts are interested in. Cars, real gearhead talk. This is the place to be for that real gearhead talk. Welcome back to all my subscribers. You know I'm grateful for each and every one of you. If you're new to the channel, guys, around here we talk about cars, classic cars, muscle cars, exotic cars, supercars, sports cars. We talk about automotive and motorsports events, what's going on with automotive manufacturers and the industry. We talk about it all. And your buddy CJ is just like you. I'm a car guy, lifelong car guy, and I just really enjoy talking about cars. And that's really the basis of this channel. We have a lot of fun around here. And get at me on the gram, on Instagram, Hot Seat Gearheads. The fun continues, guys. Let's get right into it. Tonight's episode, our topic is my 24 hours with a Tesla Model 3. I'm going to give it to you straight. That real gearhead talk. Your buddy CJ always tells it like it is. I'm going to talk about my experience. I was on a trip. I rented a Tesla Model 3 and I drove it for 24 hours. And I'm just going to tell you what my rental experience was like. I tried to experience a little bit of everything with the little Tesla Model 3. I drove it. I parked it. I got the mobile app working. Tried to use as many features as I could. I ended up going to a Tesla fast charger to charge it. I'll talk about that experience and what that was like. I rented the car with Hertz, and Hertz has a bit of a history here. Hertz had gone all in on Tesla, and then they walked it back. Wasn't terribly successful. They sold a bunch of their cars off. It's very well documented. Look it up. It made headlines because it affected the Tesla market. Wasn't great for Hertz. Wasn't great for Tesla. Wasn't great for Tesla owners, for that matter. But I did rent a Tesla Model 3 with Hertz, and I'm going to tell you about it. First things first, never ceases to amaze me. People make assumptions. I had somebody say to me, "Oh, CJ, I bet you hated that Tesla." No, I'm not an EV hater. I've been an automotive enthusiast for every bit of 4 decades now. I've owned everything. I've never owned an EV. I've never drove a Tesla more than just a very brief test drive. So this was really my first meaningful experience in a Tesla. But I've got an open mind and I'm flexible and pragmatic. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I do not co-sign this heavy EV push. I do not believe that EV is the answer to all of the world's ills. It's absurd. The push to 100% EV adoption is absurd. Makes no sense right now. Okay? Hybrid makes a lot of sense right now and for the foreseeable future. There should be a mix of options, internal combustion options, internal combustion engines getting more and more efficient. They have over the decades. It's incredible, right? Hybrid options. Hybrid has been fantastic for years. Toyota's new hybrid Camry coming out in 2025 is going to get about 50 miles per gallon. Are you kidding me? There are plenty of viable hybrid options. Okay? EV is still kind of bleeding edge. Yes, it's functional, but at scale, things tend to break down. There's economy challenges with EV. There's adoption rate issues. There's electrical infrastructure issues. There are range issues. There are use case issues with EV. That's not to say that they aren't great vehicles. Listen, millions of people have EVs now. My point being, EV is not the answer as the primary platform going forward. It's just not. And it will be rolled back, and we will not be all EV in our lifetimes. If you're listening to my voice right now, we will not be all EV. Sorry. For those that adopt that narrative and think that's the right thing to say, you're wrong. It just won't happen. It can't. EV is a piece of the puzzle. But most people, myself included, do not want to be mandated into a platform that we're not really ready for, from an infrastructure, from a technology standpoint, from a consumer appetite standpoint. So I'm not going to grandstand at all. I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but those are my points of view. I've got other episodes kind of dedicated to this. There's a reason why EV adoption has slowed like cold molasses. The market has spoken. There's a reason why there's blood and guts at companies like Mercedes-Benz and others who've gone all in on EV, and it's not really paying out, including Hertz as a rental car company and other manufacturers. We will see. Tesla's numbers are down. Tesla's still wildly successful, but numbers are down, folks. Let's be real. Let's put the politics aside and be realists. Real gearhead talk. Let's get into this, guys. So I say all of that to say that I am not an EV hater by any means. I'm a realist and I'm a car guy and I want to experience it all. I love technology. I love innovation. Okay. So why would I be intimidated or afraid or just inherently be against EV? I'm not. Who knows? I may buy one at some point. When I'm ready to buy one, I'll buy one. I won't be mandated into it. Gosh, I hope not. Okay. So listen, to show you how open-minded I am, I put my money where my mouth is. I rented a Tesla Model 3. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not coming out here to slam Tesla. I'm not coming out here to slam EVs. I'm telling you, as a car guy on a trip for 24 hours, what it was like to operate a Tesla. So let's get right into it. So here is the car. Let's look at it together. Here's the little Tesla Model 3. This is actually the little Tesla Model 3 that I rented and had for 24 hours. I rented the car from Hertz. I said to the person at the counter, hey, do you have any Teslas? And she looked at me and said, yeah, I've got a Tesla if you want it. I said, oh, that'd be great. So she gave me the Tesla. Interestingly enough, she told me nothing about it. So obviously I expressed interest. She probably assumed, and I'm not faulting her, she probably assumed that I had owned, operated, or driven a lot of Teslas. She didn't ask me. And the answer is no, I hadn't. And there are some nuanced differences that we should all be aware of, myself included and you. And I generally knew some of them. But listen, instead of giving me a key, she gave me the little credit card on a keychain. For those that don't know, you don't get a key with a Tesla. You get like a little credit card, which they put in a plastic case at Hertz. And it's on like a key tag, a key ring. And they gave me my rental contract and I was off. So I went, I saw the car. And I pretty much knew how to get into one. I knew where to hold the card, opened it up. I opened the rear trunk, slid my suitcase right in. From a practicality standpoint, out of the gate, I'll tell you, it was fine. I liken it to renting like a Chevy Malibu. I rent a lot of cars on trips, business trips and other trips. Like a Chevy Malibu or maybe an Altima or something like that. Like it was okay. Like it was functional. It was functional. It was a useful car for that type of trip. I wasn't doing a road trip with multiple people and I wanted to be comfortable driving 5, 6, 8 hours a day. No. And by the way, I wouldn't want the Tesla Model 3 for that. That's just me. But in terms of a business trip or just a local trip, fly in someplace and have a set of wheels, I thought the Tesla Model 3 was good. And I'm going to kind of give you the answers going into this ahead before the test. I'll let you know. My conclusion was this thing was good. It was okay. Wasn't great, but it was okay. So my suitcase fit right in, no problem. I got in. Now, listen, your buddy CJ tells it like it is. I'm honest. And I wasn't going to go Googling anything. I wanted to figure it out for myself. So when I got in, it took me a minute. And you Tesla guys can make fun of me all you want, but I'm honest and I'll be real with you. I had forgotten that you had to take that key fob thing, that little card. It's like a little credit card, right? You have to stick it in a certain spot in order to activate the car. So the AC came on and everything, but I couldn't put the car in gear. And that took me a minute because I was like, all right, there's got to be something. Like I hadn't enrolled the car with my mobile phone. I had the Tesla app from when I placed the deposit on my Cybertruck, which do I really want a Cybertruck anymore? That's a whole other topic based on some of the news and the information about the Cybertrucks. That's a whole other topic. I got to do another episode on that. But anyway, I didn't Google it. I remembered. You got to put the card. It's like kind of under the console. You got to at least swipe it one time. The little key card. Now the car is active. So then it's foot on the brake, put it in gear. Okay. At that point, I was off and rolling. Figuring out things like that. Listen, I think it would be useful. Newsflash to Hertz, if you're out there and listening, you should probably tell people. Now, subsequently, that night in the hotel, just hanging out, I did go to their FAQ website. And those would all be good things to do in advance if you never owned and operated a Tesla. And listen, shame on me, I didn't do that, but it's the inner car guy in me. I wanted to get that experience. When all else fails, read the manual. No, I wasn't reading the manual. I wanted to figure it out for myself, and I did. And we got rolling. You know, I'll say a couple things. Initial impression of the little Tesla Model 3. The appearance and the styling, bland. And I think that can be said for a lot of the Teslas, right? Like, it's a little egg-shaped car. And again, I'm not here to hate on the Tesla, but it is what it is, right? I am a car guy, and I have a certain passion for cars. And that's just how it is. If you're not a car guy and you just want basic transportation and you want an EV, fantastic. You know, and you look at cars as sort of a commodity. I do not see cars as a commodity. And most of you, if you're on my channel and you're like your buddy CJ and you're a real car guy or car girl, cars are not commodities. It's not just about basic transportation. You know, I look at these things, the aesthetics, the appearance, the styling. It's an egg-shaped car, and it's kind of bland. So there's that. Build quality. Even if I wasn't aware of all of Tesla's build quality issues and the general complaints about like orange peel and quality of paint, yeah, I saw that on this car. This car had some serious miles on it for a rental car. This car had about 38,000 miles on it, which for those of you who business travelers or you rent a lot of cars, you know that since COVID, since some of the supply chain issues, companies like Hertz, Avis, and a lot of the other rental car companies, they're keeping their cars longer, probably for various business reasons and supply chain challenges. So like this car had 38,000 miles on it. That's a lot for a rental car. There was a time, and it's kind of coming back, but there was a time where any rental car you got was like weeks old, maybe. Or sometimes I've been the first driver of brand new rental cars multiple times over the years. You know, as a car guy, I always take note of those things. But I will say that I could tell paint was not great. I didn't go nuts over the panel fitment. I really didn't study it. But like the frunk, I'll show you guys the frunk. The frunk felt cheap. And I'm pretty sure those are aluminum panels. So they're going to feel a lot lighter. But I've got other cars, I've had other cars over the years with aluminum panels, you know, and carbon fiber hoods and all that other stuff. But this thing felt cheap. So here's a look at the Tesla Model 3 frunk. It's not terribly deep, but useful. You know, you could put an overnight bag in there or maybe a briefcase. If you're going to have a suitcase, obviously you put it in the trunk. It's not as deep as like a Porsche or a C8 Corvette frunk or even a McLaren frunk, in my view. You know, I didn't sit there and measure it, but that's kind of my thought. You can see you got a tow hook there, I think, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I thought the frunk, Tesla guys, leave me comments. Tell me if you feel differently or the same. I thought the frunk felt cheap, and I was afraid I was going to break it when I opened it, like the hood. It just felt really cheap to me. And I understand Tesla going with kind of a lightweight thing. I get it. But again, a useful frunk, no doubt. Let's keep going, guys. And I want to show you a few other things as we move along here. And I talk to you about my experience with the little Tesla Model 3. So here's a shot of your buddy CJ using the Tesla credit card, if you will. It's not a credit card. It's like a key fob, if you will. Call it an access key, call it a security key, call it what you will. Until you get it enrolled on your phone, then you can use your phone as the key. Hertz gives you this, and you can see it's got a key tag on it and a keychain. They wrap it in a case. Otherwise, you could literally fit it in your wallet. If this was your Tesla, you'd literally just have that little credit card. You could put that in your wallet and have that as your backup access means, in addition to having your phone. Your phone becomes the key to the car, which is kind of cool, right? The brave new world we live in. But that's what it looks like. You kind of swipe that on the I guess it's the B pillar, and you can get in your little Model 3. And, you know, I'll say it again, you know, initial impressions, the styling, the appearance, the build quality, bland on the styling and appearance, build quality, but there's an upside. Let me get to some of the upside stuff now as we kind of keep rolling. So I want to show you the interior, and I want to talk about the interior of the little Model 3. And here we go. Here we go. So here's a shot of your buddy CJ in the Tesla Model 3 heading on down the road. So what can I tell you about it? From a drivetrain standpoint, I think these are fairly solid cars. From an interior standpoint, not a fan of the central screen. And again, you're talking to a guy, a lifelong car guy who's just never driven anything where there wasn't infotainment, gauges, and a dashboard right in front of you behind the steering wheel with all of your information right there. Tesla's the number one different thing when you get in it. And for those that haven't driven it, it's where it's at. For those of you who have Teslas, you already know this. You got like a giant iPad in the center of the dashboard. It's offset from the steering wheel. So your steering wheel is here. There's nothing behind the steering wheel, guys. There's no gauges. There's no speedometer. There's nothing behind the steering wheel. It's all center mounted between you and the passenger seat in the center of the dash. So that took some adjusting, right? That took some adjustment and some getting used to. Like, I got to look kind of to my right, got to take my eyes away from the road to see my speed. Like, I got used to it, don't get me wrong, and I'm not hating on it. It's different, and I'm not a huge fan. Listen, any other vehicle over the decades that I've owned or driven has had my speedo, my tach, other information right in my face. Heads-up display, whatever. This car doesn't have it. It's off to your right on the infotainment, which is kind of a giant iPad in the center of your dash. Different, yes. Unique, yes. Not optimal, okay? Not a huge fan. But again, other than that, I will tell you it's a comfy steering wheel. I like the steering wheel. I think it's kind of cool. Look at the Tesla logo. The seats I found reasonably comfortable. Listen, I didn't do 1,000 miles in this car. I didn't do a road trip in this car. I kind of drove it around town, did what I had to do, and then drove back to the airport the second day and came home. But I found the car comfortable, getting in and out of it, comfortable. The adjustments to the seats were fine. I don't think they're real leather seats, but I kind of like the material. No problem with the seating position. No problem with the visibility. So not a lot, to really complain about on the little Model 3. You got to get used to your menus. That's one thing I'll say. Like, there's no buttons really in a Tesla. And if you're a guy that likes the old tactile, tangible physical buttons in a car, this is not the car for you. Or you're going to have to get used to it. You can see you got the little knurled roller knobs. You got your radio control on the left, and I'm not even sure what the other knob does. You got your turn signal, mechanical lever, if you will, on your left there. But other than that, everything is in that iPad screen. I call it an iPad screen because I'm being kind of funny. But the infotainment screen, the touch screen, it works. It wasn't hard to figure out. It's just different, and takes some getting used to. The nav. I thought the Tesla nav was good, up to and including, and I'll get to this in a minute, when I used it to navigate to a Tesla supercharger station. I thought it worked very well. I thought it was kind of cool. So that's a little bit on the interior. I'll get to the driving experience in a moment. Just another word on practicality. I thought the Tesla was good as basic transportation. I compare it with like the rental car experience, as I said, to like a Chevy Malibu, I don't know, Nissan Altima, like something in that class. Like, nothing about this car wowed me. Nothing about this car was terribly exciting or, changed my mind that I got to run out and buy a Tesla Model 3. Absolutely not. But it wasn't a turn off per se. So here's a shot. Here's a shot of the app on my phone. So, a simple enrollment process. It gives you the QR code on the screen. You scan the QR code as long as you have the app. You got to download the Tesla app. And then your phone becomes the key. As you can see, it says phone key connected. You can lock the car. You can, open the frunk and the trunk and all those other things, set the climate. Now, I didn't mess with this a lot, but, it's kind of a cool feature set. But, it takes some getting used to, right? I don't have a traditional key and a key fob, and maybe some of you are still kind of, you like that, right? You like having the key fob. Things to get used to in the brave new world of EVs and specifically Teslas. These are high-tech cars. I had a guy say to me the other day, well, it's not a car, it's technology that's wrapped in a car. Wrong answer. Like, if this car is meant to be ubiquitous and is meant to be transportation for every man and for everyone. And this is the low cost Tesla currently, the Model 3, and they're going to be coming out with a cheaper car. But then it's got to do all things that cars do equally as well. Like it's got to be Camry level. It's got to be the equivalent of like a Camry or an Altima or a Malibu. It's got to be like Volkswagen Jetta level. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't say, well, give it an excuse because it's a high-tech Tesla. Wrong answer. That's the wrong way to look at it. Yes, the early adopters back in 2012, 2013, you were on the bleeding edge. It's 2024. Like Tesla, you got to get these things right if you want to continue to grow market share. Elon Musk and Tesla have been wildly successful. And I'm not sitting here taking pot shots at them. I think it's incredible what they've done, really. They've changed the game in the course of, the past 15 years around EV. It's absolutely an incredible story. I love it, actually. I love it. I'm not a hater. Having said that, we got to stop making excuses for Teslas. We got to stop accepting excuses for Teslas. If you want to be the next Camry, if you want to be the next fill in the blank, wildly successful car, then you have to be at par or better. It's not enough to just say, well, it's high tech and it's cool, therefore you have to accept it. I don't. Absolutely not. I expect for paying the premium that you pay for a Tesla product. Now they have adjusted prices down, but they're not cheap cars. We have to expect more, and we should. And I think the market has spoken. Listen, there's been some backlash. Look at what's going on with the Cybertruck right now. You want to be the next F-150? You can't produce garbage, Elon Musk and Tesla. You just can't. Like, if you want to be the next F-150 or Silverado or Tacoma or fill in the blank with an EV truck, then it's got to be at least as good, if not better, doing truck things. We can't say, well, it's high tech, let's give it a pass. No way. That's why it's failing in some ways. So now apply that to the Model 3. We can't just give it a pass. If you want to be the next Altima, the next Maxima, the next fill in the blank, right? The next Ford Fusion, whatever, okay? If you want to replace those cars in the market with your little Model 3 as Tesla, you've got to at least be as good, if not better, in every category, because then you got to get people over the hump that you've got an EV. And that's a tough hump. So, no, this is not a computer. I'm not buying a computer. I'm buying a car. My use case is transportation, practicality, and a car. If I want a computer, I'll buy a computer. All the technology in the world is great, but if you're falling down in certain car things around build quality, so on and so forth, Tesla's got to fix its quality issues. Bottom line, Tesla, you got to fix your quality issues because it's a thing. Okay, let's keep moving on because I want to talk to you about the driving experience. So guys, this I think is where the little Tesla, for me, really shines, and we'll show it again. Listen, not a bad looking car by any stretch, right? But, and maybe it's growing on me. Okay, maybe I have a soft spot in my heart for the little Tesla. It was my first time with the Tesla, guys. Come on. But I think where this car shined for me was the driving experience. Number one, acceleration. This was a rear drive Tesla. This is a rental car, right? This isn't the dual motor, all wheel drive, long range, super. It's a Model 3, number one. It's not an S. Number two, it's the rear wheel drive, right? Is it a single motor? Tesla guys, let me know. I think it is. The acceleration was impressive. Very impressive. This thing will throw you back. Make no mistake. And it's smooth. And it didn't shudder. Why would it, right? It's well engineered in that regard. I think Tesla's powertrain, drivetrain, I think they've got it figured out. I think that was the highlight for me. And it was pleasant. Now, whoop, whoop, red flag. You ready? Is this thing on? I got to be honest with you. And maybe this is just your buddy CJ, because I'm real. I don't pull any punches. I never do, never will. It took me some getting used to on the regenerative braking. I've driven vehicles with regenerative braking before. This little Tesla, if let's say you're going at 35, 40 miles an hour and you just release your foot from the accelerator pedal, it grabs. It's an intense braking experience. That's not the way you brake with a Tesla. And you don't just jam your foot on the brake. Regenerative braking. What does that mean? You don't ride your brakes on a Tesla. Hell, you don't use your brakes a lot in a Tesla. Now, I knew that going in, but again, it takes some time, takes some getting used to. At least for me, it did. So you got to I call it feathering. You let off the accelerator pedal kind of slow, and you feather it out, and the car gradually slows down. It's just a different way of stopping, as opposed to what we're used to with internal combustion engine cars and even some other EVs I've driven and hybrids. It's different. You do use your brakes more. Not in this car. I found myself, I really had to adjust my approach. And again, I only had the car for 24 hours. It took me a little while to get used to it and to figure out kind of how to feather it in. But once I feathered it in, I thought it was cool and I actually got a kick out of this concept that, hey, I'm not riding my brakes. I'm not having to use my brakes. I'm using this cool regenerative braking that's also charging my battery. That's cool. I told you, I'm not a hater. I kind of think the technology is awesome in so many ways. And I think from a charging and performance and drivability standpoint, steering, handling, I have nothing bad to say about the Tesla. I'm not going to say it was a fun car to drive. It's not. It's basic transportation. The itch that the Tesla Model 3 scratches is basic transportation. I know you can get more performance-oriented versions. And as I just got done telling you, this thing accelerates like a stuck pig. Like, it was crazy acceleration, and it was kind of fun. But that's over in a moment. Like, this thing will not put a smile on your face from a fun factor. There really is not much fun factor in a Tesla Model 3. There's a practicality factor, which I found this to be a useful car. Again, tooling around town, on a business trip, on a local trip, a couple days, fine, even for two people. Do I really want to have multiple people in this thing? I don't know how comfortable it'll be. I would probably go Model S. I'll get to that in a minute. Nothing remarkable from a performance and driving standpoint other than the acceleration. Like, it was okay. It was just fine. So I want to also talk to you guys a bit about sort of my charging experience, because I got this thing down in the course of a day. I actually got it down to about 75%, or I'm sorry, about 55%. Now, what I did was, and I could have just returned it and Hertz would have charged me to refill the car, but I wanted to get the experience so I could come on here and tell you about it, and also for my own gee whiz factor. So what I did was I used the infotainment, the Tesla GPS, and I said, all right, find the Tesla charging stations, whatever the input was. Very simple, very easy. And it showed me. And I went to a supercharger station. This was actually at a gas station, and they had regular gas. Then they had the Tesla superchargers. I think there were four there, right? Then they had like other generic electric chargers available. So I went to the supercharger station and connected the car. Now, here's a cool thing. I like this. I don't know if you guys know this or not. With Hertz, the cool thing is when you go to a Tesla supercharger station, you don't swipe your credit card. You don't need to do anything. You don't have to enter anything in the app. You just plug it in. Your car is pre-registered through the network. So this is a known Hertz rental car. Tesla knows it through the technology, through the software, and they billed me on my Hertz rent-a-car bill for the charging. So to take my car from 55% to, I got it to 99%, and then I pulled out. I should have timed it. I think it was about 30 minutes, guys. I don't want to tell a lie. I got it all set up. I checked it out. I went inside. I got myself a coffee, powdered my nose, so to speak, came out. And then when the car got to 99% and the charging kind of slows down, I disconnected. I went on my merry way. So I'm going to say it was about 30 minutes. Wasn't too bad. At any point in time when I was there, I think there were up to 3 Teslas charging. Nobody was waiting in line at this gas station, but there were at least 2 cars. You can see there's a lady parked next to me in her Tesla. There was a third car there, but I don't think it was ever full. But anyway, what I'll also show you here is the photo of me connecting. I'll also tell you what it cost in a moment. So here's the photo of what it looked like. What you do is you touch this little panel here by the tail light, and it opens up the charging port, and then you just grab the cord and plug it in. Very simple. And then she's off and charging, which is kind of cool. I found it very simple, easy. Didn't have to do any research on it. 30-minute charge to take this car from 55% up to 99% cost me $13 and change. Now, why is that relevant? No, $13 is $13, right? What I'll say, excuse me, if I had been in town for 24 hours and did some driving, as I did, not a heck of a lot of driving, I don't know, what did I put on this car? 60 miles maybe? How much gas would I have used? Would I have used $10 worth? Would I have used $15 worth? $20 worth? Well, it depends on what I rent, first of all, but I think somewhere in the zone. So I think this car cost me $78 to rent base before taxes and other fees, plus the $13. So, not a cheap car to rent, like a basic economy car would have been less. But, this, I actually rented, I think for this trip, I rented a midsize, and they gave me the Tesla. I don't know if there was any differential in the price, but they gave me the Tesla at the same price. Wasn't an upgrade or anything like that. So anyway, $13 and change to charge it. And then, of course, I returned the car. So that's the charging experience. I found it pleasant, no complaints. The gas station that I stopped at also had a Dunkin' Donuts and a Subway and all those other things. So in a bathroom, so no problem, could hang out. Listen, a gas stop would have taken me a lot less time. Gas stop, I would have been out of there in 10 minutes. And if I went in and got a coffee, maybe 10 to 15 minutes. But yeah, this took a little longer, but wasn't intrusive. Now, if I had to wait in line and there were 3 or 4 Teslas waiting, yeah, I'd probably have a different opinion. And I think those days are coming. And I don't think we're ready for it yet. So there's that. Guys, my final verdict on the Tesla Model 3 is decent car for basic practical transportation if you're looking for an EV. It is not for me. Okay? It's a smaller car than I would typically buy for that use case. At this phase of life and kind of where I'm at, I'm probably more of a Model S guy if I was going to buy a Tesla. So my next mission is to get some experience behind the wheel of a Model S. I think a fully loaded Model S, I think the Plaid is silly. And listen, would I buy a Plaid? I almost spec'd and bought a Plaid. That's another story. But then I got smart and decided not to. But again, I think I wouldn't buy a Tesla for performance purposes. I have performance cars. And I claim the thrill and enjoyment and aggregate experience at multiple senses and multiple levels that you get from an internal combustion engine far exceed anything a Tesla can do. Or any of these electric cars, like the one-trick pony aspect. Yes, it goes fast. It accelerates. And it's like an F-16 taking off. But that's about it. Like, there's not a lot of electric cars that scratch those other itches. In fact, there's none. And that's not why I would buy a Tesla. I would buy a Tesla for the basic transportation use case. And I think a Model S is probably more geared towards your buddy CJ. Tesla Cybertruck is a whole other topic. I think the major quality issues with the Cybertruck, some of the nightmare stories I'm hearing, I'm just hearing more negative than positive. Now, I'll reserve judgment. I understand it's year one. I understand it's a revolutionary vehicle, but I think they probably rushed this thing to the market, and there's issues, right? Major issues with that vehicle. But let's get back to the little Model 3. A good experience. Your buddy CJ had a good experience. 24 hours of the Tesla Model 3. I'm not a believer and converted that I need to go out and go all EV tomorrow. I'm not. I won't. But, I would consider a Tesla product. Probably not the Model 3 for me, but it wasn't a bad experience. It was a good experience. It was interesting. I enjoyed it. I had fun getting my first 24 hours in with the Tesla Model 3. I can see why a lot of people like this vehicle. I think if you're a young person or even just someone who likes smaller vehicles and really cool on the technology and all these other things, and you can overlook some of the other elements, and you don't have to have a car with certain aesthetics and that type of thing. Like the Tesla is a good viable option for basic transportation as an EV. I think the powertrains are solid. Quality is a bit sketch, but we know that about Teslas. And I don't give them excuses. I don't give them a hall pass because it is a car. That is the use case. And I think they got some work to do. But that's your buddy CJ's verdict. And just a few observations. 24 hours with a Tesla with your buddy CJ. Wanted to come on here and share my experience with you. Guys, please give me a like and subscribe. Give me those comments. Do you have a Tesla? Do you have a Model 3? Did I miss anything? Did I get anything wrong? Would love to hear your opinion. We could still be friends, even though we disagree. You know I love hearing from you. I'll respond to all the comments I can. Guys, take care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of your day and your evening. And until I see you on the next one, peace.